Well, hello there, Board Game Maniacs, and thanks for joining me for another episode of Octoberween! You can see here that I have none other than Michael Myers from Halloween. Now, Michael Myers, I 3D printed this off of Thingiverse, and I want to give a shout out to Schlossbar on Thingiverse.com. They have a lot of iconic horror characters such as this one, and I had to print it out because, again, this is Octoberween. I never did a painting with the Maniac yet for Octoberween, so we are going to be doing this on Michael Myers, and we may even put him into maybe like a custom gameplay or something. We don't know. Or I know, but you don't know, but you're just gonna have to wait and see. You can also see here I have, these are bases that I got from Cool Mini or Not a long time ago. You can see, because I'm thinking what I'm gonna do, I'm not gonna use the base, I'm gonna cut the base off, I'm gonna put him here, and you can also see that we have some tombstones. Now these tombstones, I'm reaching around the camera, sorry about that. I bought these a really long time ago, but I don't know which tombstone I'm gonna use, but I'm going to try to incorporate this onto his base, maybe put like a tombstone on his base just to give him a little bit more flair, because after all, it is Michael Myers from Halloween. But if you want to know where I picked these up, again, I got these a long time ago. I don't know if they still exist out there, but it's Spooky Town, Lamax 5 accessories. I may even have picked this up from the dollar store or Michael's, I'm not exactly sure, but this is it. This is where I got them tombstones, and we're going to be probably cutting them apart and using them. But anyhow, there we go. I'm excited for this. So the first step that we're going to be doing painting Michael Myers here is I'm going to do some zenithal highlights with my airbrush. I'm not going to record that part because I've done it before on other painting with the Maniac episodes. So if you want to do that, just go back and check out like painting grayscales and so forth for painting zenithal highlights. Again, if you don't have an airbrush, you don't need to do this step. You can either paint him, base him all out in black or white or gray, whatever you want, but that's what I'm going to do is I'm going to zenithal highlights of black and then white at an angle, and after that's done, we'll be back and we'll be starting the painting process off. I'm excited for this. I am, but the camera's not turning off. You can see here I have him all primed out in zenithal highlights, just so everybody knows exactly what I am using. You can see here I have the Vallejo Black and Vallejo Gray. So 73.602, 73.601, and 74.600 white. And this is what I used with my airbrush to zenithal highlight him. And again, you don't need this. If you don't have this, it's not like you can't paint this way. Because all you got to do is rattle can them out, or base them out in white, like I said, or black, or gray, or you can rattle can to do zenithal too as well. I've done that too as well. You can see here, if you turn them up this way, the light's kind of whiting them out a little bit, but you can see like he has the gray, and then into the really recesses, it's more of the black. So it's a subtle gradation going from the white to the gray to the black. And again, all I did to achieve that is just base them out in black, and then at I don't know, 35 to 45 degree angle, shot him with gray, kept it like that, turned him around, and then more of like a 95 degree angle with the white, and then did that too as well. And that is how I achieved the zenithal highlight for this so far. So now we are going to go on to the nitty gritty of painting. The first step I'm going to do is I'm going to just touch up some spots here onto just his face specifically, because he got that little line right there. But all I'm going to do is I'm going to go around but avoid his eyes with matte white from Army Painters. You can see that there. Easy peasy to do this part, so let's just do that. I'm trying to hold this in place so that I can have a good camera angle the entire time. But I'll try my best here, and I'll try to keep my big noggin out of it as well. So let's see. I'm not in picture now. So again, I'm just taking my brush, and you can see there's like a piece of paint here that's kind of come off. So I'm just wiping that off gently, because there was like a bump or what have you there from the paint. So some bumps are pretty cool because, you know, like the way that I want to paint him is I'm trying to paint this Michael Myers so he kind of resembles from the newer movies, I should say. So like Halloween Kills, Halloween Ends. Not that the other movies are phenomenal, because they all are. I'm a big fan of Michael Myers horror movies, so, you know. Anyhow, we're just going to be just painting around here, like I said. Because when we use like some contrast paint onto this for him, it's going to just really bump up some stuff. But because where I am, oh, my big nugget's not in the way, avoiding like the big recesses as much as I can with my brush. I could use a smaller brush, I guess, but I've already got this one out. So again, I'm just trying to paint to get his mask looking a little more brighter than what it is. Not by much, just, you know, a little tiny bit. So you can see there that his face is a little bit more brighter now, because that's what I wanted. And if you look in the back, his neck too as well. We're just going to hit that with a little bit more of the white too. And again, you notice my brush is kind of wide. So there, that is for just a touch up for his head. So now I think what we're going to concentrate on is going to leave his face dry, and we're going to concentrate onto his coveralls first. Maybe. I don't know though. Let's do his hands first, because his hands actually have skin color, so let's do that. If the camera will stop. The next step that we're going to is we're going to paint the flesh, like I said, and we are going to use Contrast Gilliman Flesh, Citadel Color, and the only place we're going to do this is on his hands, because that is pretty much the only place that's showing skin on Michael Myers, unless his undershirt is going to be, you know, like exposed a bit. So like down here you can see, so I'm not sure if we're going to keep it this flesh tone, but I like to just do it just to give a little bit of humanity to him a little bit. So again, that will dry. Oh no, what did I do? Accidents. And now I'm going to paint the hands here. I really like the quality of this miniature. Brings me back to the Halloween movies. Helps put me into the Halloween spirit, as they say, even more. So this is great. So again, you can see I just wash over. The contrast paint is so simple to use for the most part, you know, and it's not very difficult to paint with contrast paint, I find, anyhow. And I am not a very like skilled painter by no means, or a professional painter. I'm learning again as I go along, just like a lot of people. And by posting videos like this and watching videos that other people have posted, it just kind of, you know, opens your eyes and helps you. So that's great. So the contrast paint on his hands, the Gilliman Flesh, I may do a little bit of dry brush on this when it's over, because Michael Myers is not the cleanest person, I have to say, because all he's worried about is just go around and killing who gets in front of him. And that's the end of it for Michael Myers. Like, that's it, I'm just doing it. So, there you go. I'm not going to spoil it. I just watched Halloween Ends, and just in a roundabout way, down below, comment and let me know what you thought of Halloween Ends, or in the whole, the new Halloween series, and even the old ones. I'd be interested into hearing what you have to say about it. So I'm going to let this contrast paint dry. And when this is dry, we're going to start on the majority, and that is going to be his huge coveralls is going to be next. Hopefully get him in. There you go. Maybe. For the next color, we're going to do the coveralls, and for the coveralls, I know there I kind of hit a little bit of the Gilliman Flesh on there, but it might just add to like an oil stain to it or something, who knows. But now, the coveralls, I looked up, they're kind of like a charcoal color. I'm going off of like the Halloween Kills, Halloween Ends colors. It's like a charcoal coverall. So I'm going to try building it up, starting off with Basilicum Gray contrast paint. So hopefully, because of the zenithal highlight, it might be enough to put that on there, but may need a little bit more, we will see. But anyhow, Basilicum Gray, we're starting off for doing the painting. I just hope that I'm not in the way again. So again, I'm just trying as careful as I can, to avoid hitting the mask, because I really don't want to do the mask again, like paint it white over and over again. So yeah, that's all I'm doing is like that. And again, I'm just being very careful, as you can see. And when this dries, it should show some of the highlighting and everything, which is showing up, like to show off all these awesome like creases and wrinkles into the coveralls that Dark Warlock 664 has sculpted. So anyhow, I'm going to paint this up. I'm not going to bore you by doing it on camera. So I'm going to paint this up, and I'm also going to use like a flat black Templar, I should say, contrast paint off camera too as well. I'm going to do his boots, because his boots are like a really dark gray crossed with the black. So once I do all of this, I'll be back. Maybe. While the black Templar for his boots are drying, or I said I was doing it off camera, and where I started painting the ballasting, whatever it's called, this thing. Sometimes I can say it, sometimes I can't. Funny thing is, I just said it in the previous clip. This is ridiculous. But anyhow, when that's drying, we're going to go on and paint his hair and the handle of his blade. Not the blade, but the handle of the knife. And we are going to be using contrast cyborg brown. That's for his hair, and the handle onto his knife, his kitchen knife. So let's do the hair first. So a little bit of cyborg brown, please. And you want to be careful not to get it onto his mask, is the best that you can, because we're going to be painting the mask over from the white, obviously. But we're also going to be putting a contrast on the mask, and maybe possibly some highlight. Don't know yet. So you just got to be very careful painting this hair, because he is wearing a wig. It is a mask, and it's not human hair. It is like Halloween. I'm not even on camera. Halloween hair, so you just got to be careful. It's kind of tricky to paint while I'm on camera, because I'm leaning in and I'm going to be blocking Big Neck. And so I'm just going to paint the brown of the knife handle and his hair with the cyborg brown. I'll be back after everything of this is dry, I guess. Maybe. While this is drying, I just wanted to point out I did another step off camera, and I just used the Basilicanum Gray. See, I used it at that time. And same thing I used for his coveralls, and I kind of just put a little bit of dots onto the side of his face just to simulate like where he got burnt. And we're going to be putting more paint over this too as well, and we might even simulate doing some 3D texturing onto him just to simulate like some burns and blood for some bullet holes and so forth too as well. And we didn't even touch this yet. I just wanted to go that this is what I did. We're still waiting for this to dry, and when it's dry, we are actually going to paint over the white onto his mask by using another color gray. This is a very light gray. It's Apothecary White, which is here, which we'll be painting onto his mask. But first we have to wait until this is all dry. Now that it is all dry so far, we're going to just touch the mask up a little bit by using Apothecary White, and we're just going to go over the mask to make it a little bit more of a different tone besides white, because I want it to be kind of like a grayish color. Hopefully this will do it. If not, hey, we're just trial and error here, and we'll figure it out as we go along. So just grabbing some Apothecary White here. All right. Sorry, my arm's in the way. Sorry, just fixing my glasses. So yeah, just some Apothecary White over it. See what it will do. Because in the movies and looking at the pictures, when I I make masks like this, like actual size masks, I always don't just paint them like a stark white. I'm always mixing the colors a bit to give gray into it, a little bit of blue, you know, depending on what kind of look that I'm going for. But this apothecary white should do the trick for what I want. So I'll just keep doing this, and we'll be back after it is dry, and we'll see where it goes. Or what it looks like and what we're doing next, I should say. Maybe. While the mask is drying with the apothecary white onto it, we're going to paint the blade of the knife, and we're just going to be using gunmetal. Again, it's the metal paint from Army Painters. These are really good. I like them. So we're going to be using that, and it's pretty simple. You'll see in a second there. Very easy. I'm just making sure that everything is rocking and rolling. Get some on my paintbrush. And again, very easy. No rocket science there. We're not building a knife. We're not building a rocket. We're painting a knife, a miniature knife. Yeah. Probably going to put some blood on this and that because it is Michael Myers, and give him some bullet holes or something because he needs to have some kind of wounds onto him and so forth, because again, it is Michael Myers. That just, you know, he'll go through anybody, and he's a tank, and no matter how much he gets shot or stabbed or run over or burnt or whatever. Oh no, I got some on me there. Ah, crap, I gotta clean it off. All right, so I'm gonna do that and let that dry, and I'll be back because I'm clumsy. Now that the contrast paints and the blade is dry, looking at it in the way it kind of glimmers in the light, I don't want to put a wash onto the blade. I might leave it like that and then just add the blood and gore on top of it. I don't know yet, but right now, since we did the contrast, we could say call it done and then just do something with the base and that, but we're going to add a little bit more to that though. And what I mean by that, we're going to push the highlights a little bit more. I know we use contrast paint and that kind of does the same thing, but you know, it does the highlight for you on contrast all at one shot. But anyhow, we're going to pump it out a little bit more, and the reason why I want to pump it a little bit more too is see if it'll look any better, but also too as well as I got a new brush, and it's an AK dry brush, not sponsored from them whatsoever. I just picked this up because I like the feel of it and look of it, so I'm like, yeah, you know what, I'm going to try it out because it just looks very interesting, because if you see it, I just love the feel of it. And you know, like, I could just do this all day, but I'm not going to do that. But we're going to do some dry brushing, and we're going to concentrate on this hair first for the dry brushing. Brush is kind of big, but I'm going to try it anyhow. And we're using War Paint's Desert Yellow. Again, I'm just going a little bit of that color on top of his hair. It's very bright, but Michael Myers, the wig on Michael Myers' mask is not really dark. So because of that, we're just going to kind of bring him out a bit, because I do like the textures into his hair. So I got some onto my brush here for the first time, and just going to gently brush it across, just like so, because maybe, just maybe, it'll look pretty cool. If not, paint is permanent only when you want it to be permanent. Oh, look, I hit there. Got to clean that up. You didn't see that. Like I said, you know, it's big brush. I'm still using it. So you can see it's kind of highlighted. I like it, but I may put a little wash on to tone it down a bit, and I got to fix that anyhow. But I'm going to keep playing around with this for his highlight in his hair, and I'll be back shortly after I clean his mask, because I made a big boo-boo. Now that his hair is, well, not his hair, but the top part of his forehead that I screwed up is fixed. You can see there, all I did is I just repainted it over, and I did just throw that highlight on again, and the color I used again was Desert Yellow. Now the reason why I did this, because I'm kind of working in reverse, and what I mean by in reverse, you'll see Actually, you'll see now because he's getting tipsy. You'll see now. I'm going to use some snake bite leather contrast, and we're going to go over the hair again. And the reason why we're doing that is we're giving, again, a little bit more of a tonal variance between the hair. So I'm just going to grab some of my snake bite leather here. And all we're doing is we're just going over top of the hair. Again, the entire surface of the hair. There we go. Just be careful you don't get it on the mask, because if you screw up like I do, then I'm like, oh, I gotta, go fix that. So anyhow, I'm just going to keep adding to that, like I'm just painting the entire hair. I got to get my big noggin into the camera to do it, and you wouldn't see me painting it. So once that is finished painting that part, I'll be back. What I did, again, just took the snake bite leather contrast and painted over the entire head. You can see there, and also I didn't actually make a mistake. I did this on Michael's left hand side. I'm going to make like some dirt and burn marks and with the bullet holes and everything. So there I put a little bit of dirt and some on his knees, just to show, and on the bottom of his cufflinks too as well, just to show that, he's not exactly clean at all, and there's going to be blood and everything onto him too as well. But what we're going to do is we're going to start highlighting the coveralls now by using this brush again. Going to give it another shot because it's larger. And the color we are going to use, I just pulled it out, but where did I put it? It's like a necromancer, something like that. Is it back here? No, that's not it. Why don't I find exactly the one that I picked, because I put it in my wet palette, and I'll tell you the name of it. Sorry. It was looking at me the entire time. It is Necromancer Cloak. Again, I'm using this as the dry brush with the dry brush, the new brush I got. And we're going to dry brush his entire coveralls. Hopefully get an effect that's going to, give it more of the idea that it is actually a charcoal color gray instead of black coveralls. So let's go ahead. I'm going to start at the legs area in that. Let's see if we can get this. Again, I got some little bit on my brush and just gently going this way. See if there's any change. Yeah, there's a little bit of a change. It's not much. It's very subtle, and that's what I want. I don't want something that's going to be too much and stand out. I'm liking this subtle change. I may go over it again with mixing a little bit of white to make it lighter to do this dry brush part, because I'm liking the look of it. So I'm going to keep playing with this. I'll be back after I'm done dry brushing, and we'll go on to the next part. And Michael Myers is going for a try! Now that is all subtly highlighted to the point that it almost looks like I never highlighted it, the next thing we're doing is we're going to take Necromancer Cloak and Matte White and mix them together to give it a little bit more of a brighter gray, but not too bright, but just bright enough so it's going to bring it a little bit warm. We're going to do very, very slight highlighting, and we're going to use a small brush for this. So I'm going to show you the color of that I just mixed up before I pressed record. If you can see there, that kind of gray. And we're going to just put it onto the miniature, but we're not going to put it everywhere. We're kind of going to just put it in certain spots, just parts that kind of stick out the most, like there. And then I'm just going to use my finger, which is clean, and dab it down, just to tone it down just a little bit. So you can see there it is highlighted, but it is blended in as well. So we're just going to continue on again, like, some of the buttons there, just that, and then Again, just dabbing it. So I'm going to continue doing this. Again, I don't want to bore you by just me doing all the highlighting this way on camera, but just to show you, I'll do one more or two more just so that we're on the same page. So I'm going to do this pocket here. And again, I'm just taking a little bit of highlight here and there and just highlighting it, and then my finger or my thumb or whatever. The more you dab, the more you're going to take off. Just like this. And it goes like that. So I'm going to continue on with this, and I'll be back when this is done, and I'll show you what it looks like. You can see there, that is the highlighting done to the point that I like. We're doing both dry brush and then kind of like edge highlighting and kind of blend the both together with your finger or thumb or something, just to give it more of a soft edge. Michael Myers he's not being able to stand up. And I kind of made it more heavy up top here so that the light was kind of shining down on him a bit to make him seem a little more menacing. Like I said, it's more darker in this area because the light's shining down like so. And you already see the blood out. It's blood for the blood gods. You can see there's Citadel, and we're just going to put some blood onto Michael Myers here, like onto his blade and so forth. Actually, let's just start off with the blade, shall we? And you can make it as bloody or as not bloody or not bloody at all. It's totally up to you, but a little bit of superficial streaking, like so. And since we got the blood out, like, you know, he's going to have blood on his hands and everything because it is Michael Myers. He does not do any kind of gentle mercy stuff. He just goes to it like crazy. So, yes, I'm just going to keep adding the blood, and I'll be back because I don't know how much blood I'm going to add. It might be way much. Who knows? We'll see. Now you can see that the blood is added again. I didn't go crazy as much as I wanted to just keep throwing on the blood and throwing on the blood. But, you know, you still got to see that it's, you know, it's Michael Myers. So a little bit of blood there, and then on his knife and his hands, kind of like some bullet holes right there. If you want to make it more realistic, you could either take some black when this dries and put a little dab into it in the center to make it look, give it a little bit of depth. Or you can even like take your a pin drill and drill into it just to give it more depth as well, to cut into it, and that's another idea. But I'm just leaving it like this. And you can see I really like the way he's turning out, but we're not done yet. No way. And again, yeah, like another bigger shot right there, and you could hit right there too as well. You could look at the pictures online and you can get as screen accurate as you want, but I'm not. I'm just going to keep it like that. And blood on his face, obviously, on the side there, his hands. So the one thing that I want to do next is kind of get a little bit creative, because I do like, and one thing I really like to give a little bit more dimension to Michael Myers instead of having like a flat looking killer. I'm talking about in the movies where it'd be just like one tonal value or so forth. But we're going to make it look like where he get burnt on the side of himself right there, like a little bit of fire, maybe a little bit on the top, but it's not going to be fire paint. It's like the aftermath, like where it caught on fire and it get out. So we're going to put that as the way we're going to create that. It's pretty easy. I've done this before, and we're going to use Citadel's Sterling Battle Mirror. This is a texture paint, and we're going to mix it up with any black paint, like matte black I'm just using here from Army Painters, but you don't have to use that. You can use whatever kind you want. And then after we mix it up, we're going to start taking it and we're going to start applying it now to just on his shoulders and that where he would have got burnt. But because just be aware, this is like, it's got the texture into it, so sometimes less is more, if that makes sense, which means you don't have to put too much onto it to show it off. So again, it's all it is he get burnt. I know I put it over the blood a bit, but that's okay. And you can dab it off gently, but be careful, because if you dab too hard, you're going to pull like the sand texture onto it. You could just use black paint if you want, but I kind of like taking a little bit of the texture like this and just added in some spots just to give it a little bit more of a charred look like this, because that's what I really like. But to each their own, it's whatever floats your boat, as they say. So his hair is going to be burnt a bit to float your boat. Yeah, that's a saying. So again, texture on this side of his head for the burn. And again, I'm continuing this texture slightly down into the mask. Not too much to take away like a lot of the look, but enough just to say like, hey, yep, he got burnt on the side of him, just like in the movie. So we're going to leave this dry. If you really want to, we could cut the fingers off that Jamie Curtis did and put, make some bandage to that, but we're not going to get to that point. He's just like this. So we're going to leave this dry, and we'll be back because we're going to be tackling the base very soon, and that is going to be a little bit of a challenge. While Mr. Myers is doing the drawing thing, we're going to concentrate on the base now. This base has a lot of detail. Again, this was a Cool Mini or Not base. I don't know what game it's from. I found this lying around from where I had all of my con stuff when I would go to some gaming conventions and that. So, but you can see here, it's going to be glued in place like this. I don't know what that is, but because it is Michael Myers, we're going to treat this like it's mainly wood, because old house, you know what I mean? Stuff like that. So we're going to treat this all with snake bite leather. So we're going to just paint it all contrasty with snake bite leather. This is not even based out. But we're going to see what happens when I put it over without being based. I'm curious, because there's nothing on it. Like, there's no residue, no mold spray, no nothing. So we're just going to go straight on it with the contrast paint. And once I put on a layer of snake bite leather, I'll be back. Now that the paint is dry on the base that we did, the next thing we're going to do is we're not going to use contrast though. We're going to use some Xandri Dust by Citadel. It's a little bit lighter, which I want. And we're just going to use the dry brush again, and we're just going to go over top of it lightly to bring out all of this nice texture. So I already put some XV88 into my wet palette. Sorry that my big head is there. And again, I'm just dry brushing. And then away we paint. On camera though. There we go. So all we want to do is get the tops of that. You can see there, good variation. I like it. Now, one thing I did too as well while I was off camera, and this was dry, because drying, it took a little bit longer to dry, so I went ahead and I took one of the headstones, like this one, but this is the one that I didn't use, and I cut it off with an X-Acto knife. It was kind of hard to do. I don't know what kind of material, some kind of plastic or whatever, and I just repainted it a little bit like this. So I put like Myers in here, but you can hardly make it out, so something is there. And then I just use the same technique with the texture paint, and I put the black underneath, and I took the brown, the original color, and I put it on top like this, just so that when we are going to we're going to glue it down, it's going to be something like that with Michael too, so it's going to be fun. So this is going to dry, that's going to dry, and we're going to, when that's dry, I'll be back with them all glued together, and we'll see what it looks like if we need more, because you can see I cut the base off of Michael already. Very easy to cut off. All I did was use my X-Acto knife. I could have printed it without the base, but I didn't know I was going to use this base at the beginning. But now, since it's there, it's going to be pretty cool. Whoops, sorry, Michael. So I'll be back after I glue it all together. And there you have it, Board Game Maniacs. That is Michael Myers. The link for this file will be down into the description below. I strongly urge you to go check it out, because they have so many awesome miniatures that you can get. You just go check them out. It's going to be worthwhile, because I'm in love with his or her sculpting, whoever it is. And I'm definitely going to be using this in some kind of game, which I'm going to create, and hopefully it's going to be aired this month on Octoberween. So if you have any other questions or comments, please comment below, and I'm open for constructive criticism. Like, don't just say like you totally suck at this, and you know, like, be nice, because again, I may be painting for a little bit, but I am not a professional by no means. I am learning as I go along, and just like everybody else, watching YouTube videos and how to do certain things or whatever, and then just incorporating them in. So I hope you enjoyed this Board Game Maniacs. I certainly enjoyed this, and I am so psyched to try to make some kind of mission up with some kind of game using Michael Myers himself. If you have any ideas, or you've done this in the past, again, comment below and let me know, because I'd be very, very interested to see what it was. So anyhow, we'll check you out for the next episode of Octoberween, and remember, be safe on Halloween, and most importantly, be a maniac. Bye-bye. Bye. Bye. Bye, Michael. Thank you, Michael. Bye. Bye. Hope you enjoyed that video. If you want to keep up to date with Board Game Maniacs, click on the like and subscribe button to be notified when more videos come available. If you want to become an official sponsor of Board Game Maniacs, go to patreon.com/BoardGameManiacs. Or you can go to streamlabs.com/BoardGameManiacs1. That's right, and you can donate to help keep the lights on, keep food in our bellies, and play more games. We'll purchase more games, more equipment to make Board Game Maniacs evolve and get bigger and larger because of you, the viewers. I thank you from the bottom of my toes to the top of my head for all of your support. And until next time, Board Game Maniacs, be a maniac.